back, but I mean, I like Mouse Sports. You know, chances against Navi, they've gotten the better of them recently, and I like this Mouse Sports squad a lot, man. I know they just lost to North, but there's no shame in losing in overtime to a strong North team, especially on a nice Danish map like New.
Yeah, they're trying some interesting things, of course. We'll have to pay attention if we see any of that in this map. But already, things getting started here as a 2-to-1 trade goes in the favor of Mouz to start things off. Oscar holding the line for behind the tree, but Dennis helping out as he snipes out another player. Eliminating Siege, just bringing things down to Simple and Flamey, and Simple's not going to last very long either. There you go, a 4v1. Flamey's at 13 HP. He's going to be surrounded in a second too, so he's completely closed off in this room. Dennis will get the finalizing shot, and Mouse Sports take quick control to take their first pistol.
Yeah, and Dennis with the 4K, and this is a player that's really emerged lately as, you know, just playing very well again, you know, post-Nico, I guess. I remember when he was first coming up, I mean, I don't want to say something that might not be true. I thought that Thorin said he might, like, you know, be like this next really good German player, and his stats kind of showed that, and he was really playing well, and then all of a sudden kind of dipped a bit, and now that, you know, they have this new lineup, he's been, you know, a lot more assertive and playing a lot better, and maybe we'll see, you know, big things from him.
I think there's a renewed amount of confidence with this new squad that's starting to come out from Mouse Sports, and they can see that in the way that they played, even going back to that last map. Now, there is going to be a little bit of trouble here, even with Navi basically full saving there. They still managed to sneak in 2 kills. Besides that, though, the round is won pretty quickly, and Mouse Sports find themselves up 2-0.
And Navi again going for that 3rd round bye. And this is on the CT side. This is something that you almost never see. Especially because they just get 4 FAMASes. No.
Well, 1 and 4. Yeah,
4 FAMAS. This is so odd. This is something you almost never see. You usually, if you're going to force buy, you throw in some umps and whatnot.
They have no utility either. They have 2 smokes to try and hold off usual B pushes, but that is going to be it. One of those, actually, excuse me, both those smokes are going to be over to be bombs. Look at how aggressive they're getting, though. They're going to make up for the lack of utility just by going straight out and taking these fights. And so far, works out for them as they're able to push forward. Limiting Ropes, bringing this down to a 5v4 situation within the first few seconds of it. They are going to have to very quickly just try to be able to move around the map, though, because they had originally they had a 4-man stack over towards B, but now they're changing this up and sending players very quickly in the other direction, since besides that kill on to Ropes, everything was pretty much clear on the B bomb site. So they're going to try to swing it over towards A instead, and there's good reasoning behind this. Look at how well they're able to control Mouse Sports. Kind of sending players back from the leading out for mid connector and up to the ramp with the smoke and the flashbang pressure. Force them all to kind of funnel together here on A long. This is up to Mouse Sports to make the next move. The molly's good, but Simple gets the kill. Unfortunately, he backs into the molly, or it spreads without him realizing, and that is going to do the finishing blow to allow Lowell to eliminate Simple there. Dennis picking up the additional kill, re-equalizes things down to a 3 versus 3, with Dennis continuing to lurk around inside of the alleyway. He does need to check his backside in a second, though. And without doing that, he's now going to be eliminated by Edward, but the last 2 have changed up the pacing of this game. They're working their way over towards B. The T's don't seem to care too much about that smoke, but they might have wanted to, as now Guardian's eliminated Chris J. That's the bomb gone down. Everything's on Oscar, and he doesn't even get close to making that 1v3 happen. Guardian shuts him down very easily in the 1v2 scenario that he had set up against. And now, same as Liquid, we're at 2-1. With Navi having a successful 3rd round force buy.
Yeah, they win that 3rd round again. 4 FAMASes and an M4. I'm just very surprised at that buy from Navi. Perfectly played by Guardian there, by the way. Gets the info, throws the smoke down, not only delays, but ends up getting both kills. Very nicely played by him.
Yeah, so now Mouse Sports just go back into a sort of default style of play, since Navi's going to be a little bit more securely bought up. They managed to survive that round with 3 players left alive. Yeah. Setup. They're a little bit more focused on A earlier in the round this time.
This is a one-way molly, by the way. When you're behind it as a T, very easy to see. The CTs, though, they can barely see anything. So it's really good to peek behind if they ever throw it shallow.
Well, with that, Oscar, along with his teammate, are going to be able to get initial control of A-Long, but they still have to battle against Simple and possibly another player. They want full control. And indeed, already, look at this from Oscar, the re-peek. It's great at first, but unfortunately, the trade from Flamey comes in so quickly. Chris J is able to bring it back, re-evening us into a 3v3 again with Lowell's entry against C's at the doorway. That's opened up a whole new world of possibilities for them, as Ropes can just move right in, pick off anyone that's still lurking on the B-bomb site, and now only 1 remains. It's Guardian set up in a 1v3 to try and clutch this out. Otherwise, Mouse Sports will just come right back and take control of things. Guardian trying to punish the planter, but he's missed the mark on that one by about 3 or 4 seconds or so. Now the smoke to cover off the site, so he can isolate this one going. He's playing his utility in a really smart way, and even reads the direction that Low is going to go. Very well played by him. Unfortunately, though, they were set up to re-peek into that as soon as he got that kill, and Ropes moves in to shut out the last kill and allow for Mouse Sports to retake control.
Yeah, and that's the issue. That's the problem when you go for those third round buys is that look at your purchase now. You know, now you're going to be on a force and you have about like 2,500 each really max. So it's not looking good against, you know, 5 AKs. One of the things I do want to say about Mouse Sports is Lowell and Rops are more of like the T-side players who kind of play off their teammates. They do a really good job of that. You know, if Oscar's going to do something and go for like an early pick, they know how to adapt to that and change their own game in order to, you know, utilize themselves to their best, you know, and put themselves in good positions to play off of that and adapt to that aggression. You know, if Oscar wants to do something, or Chris J or Dennis, and it's really nice having those complementary players like that. And even though like Rops, in my opinion, is kind of like going to be a star, that's one of the things that is a talent that's a very, you know, overlooked oftentimes.
Well, Rups is going to find himself in a bit of an interesting position here as he's now alone sitting in those back halls there. He's able to pick up the first player that moves in to hunt him down, and the rest of the team is not having too many issues to push out onto this A site and take control. Edward is the last bastion of defense over here to try and hold it off with a Molly and flashbang combo. Just destroys him as Lowell moves in to stick the kill. And for Guardian, there's really not a whole lot that he can do. Still has the element of surprise hiding over here towards the drop room. So it's more than likely going to try to just move around here. If anyone goes hunting for him, he can knock them out, but if not, it's not too big of a deal.
Yeah, so Mouse Sports, you know, getting an early lead here. It's going to be 4-1. They're going to have a decent amount of money as well, assuming they clean up this anti-eco round pretty easily, this upcoming one. So we should be seeing 5-1, and with a good economy for Mouse Sports. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, so when you have players who are able to adapt to what you're doing and also the other team and adapt to what they're doing, it's a really underlooked skill. Like those complementary players that are able to, you know, react to things and play properly off of that. It's like, in my opinion, it's more difficult to do that than be the guy that everything's structured around, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're Oscar, yeah, it's difficult to hit the shots that he does and always play with confidence and whatnot, right? And get in those positions. But it's, in my opinion, even more difficult to be the guy who's like, oh, Oscar is doing this. Let me throw this proper flash for him. Then if he dies, I know what to do. Then if he's successful, I know what to do. Then if, based off his calls, I react to it. You know, there's so many things that you need to look at.
So many variables.
Variables, exactly.
Well, look at this fast play from Mouse Sports and a fast rotate from Navi. Unfortunately, they all get stuck at Evan over here. But Chris J still finds himself in a bit of a peculiar position, burning out inside of the Molotov. So Flamey's actually able to sneak in one kill from there. That will more than likely end up, unless the guys from Mouse Sports get greedy and chase down those kills, that will more likely end up being one of the only kills that Navi are able to get this time, though, as they do send them all back towards B, plant the bomb, and will still ultimately win the round, bringing us up to that 5-1 scoreline.
Predictions here, Blue, for the rest of this game?
I mean, it's looking good for Mouse Sports right now.
It's just like,
we need to see another gun round, though.
I know we do.
Before I can
we do.
make like
it just seems like Mouse Sports just knows how to play against Navi, man. I don't know what's with these guys and Navi, but it's kind of like they're kryptonite or something.
Well, Dennis able to eliminate one more, and the final three are trying to set up for a few exits. The setup's not that great, though. Edward finding himself in a little bit of a battle, but like no one's close to traded or anything like that, so they're pretty much just going to end up sitting back. They don't save much, obviously, but they don't want to give them the free money from the kills either. So pause is going to be called. I believe that is a tactical pause from Navi, as this is a very important round to make sure they don't fall behind too much at the start of this half.
Yeah, but I mean, their money's not great. You got 4K apiece, so you're not going to have an op or anything like that. And without utility, this CT-sided Cobble is really difficult. I think utility plays a huge part in Cobble. I mean, if you want to take A Hall's control safely as a T, right? A lot of the time you're not just taking direct gun battles, right? You're using nades and whatnot. And then as a CT, what do you use after their nades? Well, you can use your own nades to delay them even further to set up properly, right? But without that utility, it becomes very, very difficult. There's certain maps that the utility doesn't matter as much, but I really do think Cobble, delaying drop control, delaying the B-plat control and whatnot, stopping the B-plat control when they get behind the box and throw the Olaf smoke, right? With HE grenades to punish it, with Molotovs and whatnot. It's really, really important. So we'll see. They might not even buy here.
Looking like at the moment they're just upgrading pistols and a few players buying up armor behind it, so.
Yeah, but see, my problem with this buy right now is, why wouldn't you do this buy the round before? If you do this round, if you do this buy the round before, you give yourself a way better chance of winning that round, and you want to win a round before that, you know, point to this point, right? Obviously, you would rather win the round earlier, so you deny them the 3250 that they're going to win.
Chris Jagan
Get for winning the round, sorry.
No time going in towards drop in this round here. And look at this from Guardian, too. Has the aggressive position inside of the smoke at the moment. Not seeming like anyone from Mouz suspects it, so he moves in, is able to eliminate low. It's a short-lived victory as Rups trade that out just a second later. But Ceased also picked up a kill here. So it brings it down to a 2v4 overall, leaving Mouz in a pretty poor position to try and actually do anything about this now, as they're really not going to have any choice but to fall back into the B halls and try to slow their roll here, make sure that no one else pushes them from the flank or anything like that, and then attempt to re-execute somewhere. Where that's going to be, obviously, still very much up in the air, but they're being pushed on by members of Navi, so in a second they are still going to have to fight to defend themselves. That battle will come from Flamey, but oh no! Oscar was caught trading out his gun, so both are going to end up going down, and Flamey just single-handedly shuts down the final two.
Just easy kill onto Chris there, picks up the gun, gets another one. Just a very scrimmy strat by Mouz. Doesn't catch Navi off guard at all. They all play it right, they play it properly, and win that round with ease, and that's going to help them a lot, economically speaking. So we're going to see another pause.
I think this was from Mouz.
Oh.
So Mouz taking themselves another tactical pause here. So Navi to the last one. This one's from Mouz. As their money is still okay. They can definitely rebuy into this one. It's just after this round is the big question for Mouz right now. As they're not going to be able to last for very long following their purchases. You can still see a few of them actually are doing buys in the moment. So the money's not entirely accurate for the final buy. But yeah, if they drop this one, this is going to be kind of an easier path for Navi to get back into the game now that they've kind of secured themselves at that last round. And more importantly, going into this next round, they're not going to have a double op setup to play with as well.
Yeah, we'll see what Mouz comes out with, because generally in these rounds, you just lost a round where you tried to scrim pretty hard, right? Just do something kind of crazy, just jumping down B or going out B and drop very early with very limited nades. You know, now usually you're going to see a more methodical round, right? Taking map control, hitting something as a team and whatnot. Does look all 5 players going towards B right now, though.
There's a few holding back, I think, to deploy smokes, but they're only going to be a few seconds behind, so it shouldn't actually hinder the hit too much. Navi's still getting sit up, so they could catch a few players out of position, but it's still too slow in the actual execute. Dennis is already out, though, but the problem is by the time he gets out, look at this, it's Navi just shutting them down. The only trade so far coming from the drop team, but they don't get very far at all. Flamey just trades it back with a double kill and ends up with a massive 4K on the round.
Just absolutely perfect from Navi. If you saw what they did, they read that it was a B rush. They saw that it was a B rush. They heard the players going. 2 players of Mouz that are delayed to go down drop, but they stop B first. And then after they stop B first, they react to drop. And once those B players are dead, all of a sudden these drop players are very easy to take care of. Very easy.
And so now that pretty much breaks Mouz economy almost entirely. They are going to end up just on Tech 9 armor purchases for the upcoming round. And once again, very, very quickly trying to push their way into the bomb site, but it's not going too great. 1 kill, but both now 3 more have been traded back by Edward here before he finally goes down to Rups, and he's not going to get very far either. As soon as he goes to the outer portion of the site, he's taken down. Now Oscar did spot the rifle barrel here a moment ago of Simple, so he's able to trade that kill back. And he's got a 1v2 set against him. Doesn't have the bomb, but he can still very much win this play. As he's going to try to push forward. The flash not too successful, but the flick onto Flamey is definitely going to be successful. Now it's down to a 1v1. Him versus Guardian. Try and clutch this one back out. He almost did it back at the end of the last map, but he's got another chance to save his team here. Keep them in control. Molly going to be well-timed. Should actually, I think Guardian just managed to get past that. So he's still going to have this flank. Unfortunately, he took a lot of damage in the process of it, though. But with the ops being in play, that may not come to matter too much. It really depends on the guns that they have out when they get into the battle. But Oscar, managing to make his way past Guardian, should be able to get the bomb onto the ground and start the timer against Guardian's favor. But right now, though, Guardian just trying to investigate and make sure that he doesn't get flanked out as well. As Oscar just waits down the time now that he's got the bomb planted securely on the ground. Dodges the flash, should be able to hear these footsteps too, so this is going to be a relatively easy closeout. There you go, Oscar. Perfect positioning, perfect timing on the way that he plays that one out, and he secures it in the final 1v1, keeping Mouz in control of the map.
Just an insanely good 1v3 by Oscar. You see, after he kills Simple, he picks up Simple's off, gets that nice kill there, but the way he played that 1v1 was just so impressive.
Smart.
That was so smart. Throws the smoke, understands that he doesn't want to let him get behind him, so he throws that Molotov. I'm assuming he heard Guardian get hit by the Molotov. I think he took a tick of damage through it. Knew exactly where he was. Plants in the proper spot. I mean, that was really nice by him.
So now this takes us into the next round where both teams are going to be back up to full buy. Navi obviously struggling a little bit here that their money is going to be brought down pretty quickly, but they still have everything they need to defend this. And Mouz taking a look at them, they go back into the much more methodical style of play since their sort of rush plays, well, at least to a certain degree, worked out for them in the last round there. They're going to change it up a bit more here this time, as they do just stack for the most part outside of the mid-connector and only have 1 or 2 players at most holding in the B halls this time. Dennis is really trying to get himself into A long with the constant mollies being bombarded with by the CTs. They're certainly not helping his case. That's going to go away now, though. It opens up a whole new page for players like Lowell to move their way in from Suicide as well. Try and pinch out these last 2. Flame is going to read into it, though, but he's only able to get 1 kill. It's traded back a second later by Lowell, and Simple's red, hiding in the little crow's nest over there. Edward trading 1 and now 2 kills back at it, though. Keeps Navi in control, as they're going to have to quickly rotate their 2 remaining players over from the B-bomb site. Thankfully for them, Mouz are being relatively slow in their follow-up to try and get out onto this site. So it is going to give time for Navi to try and line up. However, Guardian's not going to be ready for that peek from Rope, so he moves in, just destroys Guardian, and brings us back down into another even fight. And Rope, so beautifully played, just out of the corner of his eye, spots Edward, and is able to go behind cover, re-peek that to destroy him, and now at least seized alone to try and clutch this one back out. And he can't even safely push out onto the site. He's still stuck behind his smoke. It's finally going to fade away now. But as he moves in, he has a very, very little intel about where these last 2 are positioned. A bit of a lucky break, though, as he spots Ropes for free, catches him from the backside, but doesn't succeed in picking up the kill, which has almost certainly sealed his fate. Ropes finally going to be able to peek back out, finish off the job, as he ends up with a 3K, sending Mouz Sports up to 7 now.
Yeah, Navi set up really well to win that round. I mean, they have 3 people at A. Edward able to get those 2 kills to put it into 3v2, but Rops on that lurk roll doesn't actually go down drop or out B or anything like that. Goes right back up middle, able to get those 2 kills to open up the site and make it a 2v1. And just 2v1 at that B site is generally a pretty easy site to stop any retake from.
You expect another probably pretty scrimmy strat here from Mouz Sports, as they certainly know Navi's on the eco there, even if the 2 SMG buys come back in from Chris J and Dennis. So C's trying to hold this one back off. They don't check him originally, but he can't hit any shots himself. And here we go. As expected, it's pretty much just utter domination by the Mouz Sports players, as they've pretty much wrapped this one up already. Simple just running away. So it's not to feed them the extra cash for free, but they're going to be taking this one. It's going to be 8-3 in just a moment here as soon as they find Simple.
Which is the 3rd round they won, because they won the 3rd round. They won the force buy round that they had, and then they won the one after that where they rushed B again, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they stopped them at.
They kept trying to force that. They stopped after they actually won in the 1v1. Yeah, it was just the 2 rounds straight where they kept trying to rush their way into B. They managed to win.
Simple only 2-7 right now.
Yeah, I think the analyst talked about that in the last segment when we ended up doing the overtime for the Mouz Sports game, about how Simple had kind of fallen off tremendously in the past couple of months, ever since like joining Navi. He did pretty good for the first few months, but then he sort of lost a lot of that flair going into 2017 now.
We have another tactical pause coming out from Navi. I think what happens is that without Zeus on the team, I think, at first we saw them win, what was it, ESL New York, right? I believe
that was
right
the first
after.
win, yeah.
Right after he left, right?
Mm-hmm.
They practiced, it was an absurd amount, I remember hearing, right? Like 120 hours was all on their Steam accounts and stuff for the past 2 weeks. And they win that event. But I think what happens is, Zeus is probably the player that was on that team who doesn't reinforce bad habits, probably, right? This is just, my guess of kind of what occurs, right? So someone does something wrong, someone takes a peek that's not good, someone's position not good. Immediately he's there, he's like correcting. He's like, no, don't do that, don't do that. But then without someone like that, maybe everybody starts playing a little bit more free-flowing and they kind of develop these habits, right? And then slowly you don't have that person just immediately when it happens, hey, stop, don't do that, right? And then it becomes more normal and more normal and more normal. And all it takes is a few of those to happen before you kind of fall off a bit.
Yeah, and you just lock yourself into those bad habits.
And you see Dennis uses that molly and that one way every single time. And I'm telling you, as a CT, even if you have an op scoped on that, it is so T-sided.
Well, Navi's pretty much just avoided going up to here at all now. They haven't had players here in at least like 4 or 5 rounds. The closest they've had is have these guys like in the middle portion of this A-long push, like where the crow's nest is and where the suicide entry is. But they haven't had anybody over here by way like the haystacks there anymore for like pretty much most of this half ever since they started mauling it consistently.
There's a ton of map control early on. Navi again sending 3 towards A here. I believe that is Guardian with B plat control. Simple losing his duel to Lowell. Lowell only has a Mac 10.
Really beats him out there. Simple gets baited and taking some shots early on. He hears the noise, I think, and fires a little bit too early and then just can't adjust in time. So he's going to go down. Now the rest of Mouz trying to move their way back in. Flamey having a good hold, though. He's picked up a double kill. He's been able to keep this even for now, but he needs support from his teammates ASAP. Otherwise, he's going to go down. He's already getting mollied outside of the shed. Does decent damage to one more player before finally getting knocked out by Oscar. But the damage has been done. And now in the meantime, as the Chaotic Rotate moves in, they're going to be completely out of position. And Ropes may just have a free kill onto this last player, as he indeed is just going to walk right out, eliminate Seized, and shut down the round for Mouz Sports, as they're up to 9, just dominating against Navi here in the first half.
Oscar, just nice shots in order to get that 3K. That's 2 3Ks now on very important rounds. Wins the 3v1. Coming up this gun round, gets another 3K. Rops on a nice flank, and you see how they just pause as soon as Rops gets that positioning and that info. Oscar, even though they paused, you still puts on an angle, got another kill. But we see another eco from Navi, so 9-3, probably going to be 10-3 here. Simple with a deagle might challenge Oscar.
Oscar just patiently waiting it back out. He does actually, I think, try to flick it, but ends up missing the shot entirely. So they'll get away with that one for right now. Dennis is here now. So he may try to eliminate Simple if he goes for that peek again. But Simple's long gone. He's thinking about it for a second, but decided to evacuate over to the A site since he is currently the only player actually defending this site. So if he goes down, it's open season for everybody on the Mouz Sports. Just rush right up there. Mouz Sports are playing more into a default this round, though, spreading their players across the map. Not really trying to pressure in towards B just yet, just kind of holding guys in the halls. Close as they have to, moving into a site is still Dennis investigating over here towards Long. And this has been his playground for most of this half so far. And he's going to try to continue that as he moves in, looking for the first kill against Flamey. Flamey in a good position, and he even dinks Dennis, but is not able to get the kill. So the first frag of the round still goes by the way of Mouz Sports here, and it falls to Simple to defend this site, as everyone for Mouz Sports seems to be falling in line for an A execute now. Dennis will definitely want to be careful if he proceeds here, but it's looking like he's called it off for right now, and is going to leave it to Oscar to meet the entry here at A long. And has to check that cubby. Simple could actually do some really good damage from here if he goes unchecked, and that may very well be the case as we're seeing the move back out. And there you go, the first pickup from him. Looking for a second, doesn't get the shot off in time. He does tag him once, but can't actually finish the kill. Navi, though, still has great positioning to try and crush the rest of Mouz Sports here. There's more attempt to move back in. They've evened us into a 3v3. Dennis really can't move forward, but Chris J's going to get that kill. Great molly, forces another player into the open. Guardian's traded one back, but now he's got a 1v2, and Rups, beautifully shot, goes into the door and denies Guardian of his chance at a clutch.
Yeah, and even though that round got pretty close, I mean, all they ended up doing was some economic damage, which isn't going to matter since Mouz Sports does have enough money to buy out for the rest of the half. Navi, though, I mean, they've lost 2 rounds now where they've had 3 towards A, and Mouz Sports has hit A. Right, so positionally speaking, they haven't played, like, bad or anything. I mean, that's 2 important gun rounds that they lost, right? Just overplaying a site that they're hitting. Those are rounds you expect to win. The setup doesn't really work out very well. There was that player boosted who wasn't even able to get a kill. Dennis just immediately checked it, took him out. That was a really important frag. And now Simple getting the double up with Guardian. Oh, what a shot.
Simple takes his shot, doesn't connect, and then Oscar peeks in there just to close out upon Simple. So there we go. Once again, A-Long is dominated by Mouz Sports. Usually it's Dennis doing the work there, but this time Oscar takes over and finds a massive impact. Ropes is more unfortunately going to have his own chain of issues over here. He does go 1 for 1, but is traded out by Guardian. All he was really trying to do is keep 1 or 2 players over here, though, and he succeeded in that respect. Bringing this down to a 4v3. He is going to look to try and initiate a flank with Guardian since he's pushed into those B halls, but he may not be able to really go for this, unfortunately, just due to how quickly Mouz Sports are going to be able to move in and take this control. Good smoke setup too, but I think Flamey can just barely spot beyond it here. He does have to move in, but indeed, spots Chris J. That's the bomb going down. Almost gets the second kill, but Dennis and Lowell trade both those players right back, and that kills most of their chances of winning out here on the 14th. Guardian is going to have to fall back over towards T-spawn to save that up for the final round.
Look at those smokes, though. That was pretty neat. Cool. Yeah. I mean, it didn't work out that well. I mean, I think there was like a gap, like 3 different gaps between them.
Had good intentions,
but it's still pretty cool.
Especially with it pretty much, if it worked, it did pretty much wrap around the setup that Navi had with those 2
They're like, you know what? You know, Nuke? We could do the smoke wall. We could do that here.
So definitely some new stuff coming out from them. Just need to iron out the details of those smokes a little bit. I'm sure it'll work a little bit better in the future.
I wonder if they did that during the season at all, because that was the first time I saw it.
Yeah,
they'll tell me on that analyst desk.
We're out of our element in this match to a certain degree. We're East North American teams. It's a big step up. But we do end up going into the 15th round, and Mouse Sports, with plenty of cash to spare, still going to be fully bought. Let's see where Navi end up at in terms of their buy. It's actually not going to be too bad with Guardian being able to save his own op. I'm pretty sure he was able to drop a rifle over to Simple, and everybody else just ends up fully buying to the best of their own abilities. Only one real huge downgrade on Edward down to the UMP. Besides that, everybody is able to at the very least get a rifle, some armor, and a nade or two. Flamey being the one exception there. He does not get any utility to play with. Mouse Sports go right back to at least seeming like they're going to try to go fast outside. Oscar spots Guardian up on top over here by the boost, though, and destroys him, and once again wins in another op tool. Rob's finding another entry here. He's going to go for a second. Having some trouble getting that second kill, though, so Simple is going to be able to trade it. Problem is that doesn't really seem to matter even with that kill. Mouse Sports have so much control here of the A-bomb site, and Dennis, with the position inside the smoke, he can punish them by the window side. Doesn't actually get the kills. The smoke's making things a little bit too hard to see from inside of there, but now more trying to push their way in. Blaney actually gets away with a kill where he didn't really seemed like he was going to be able to get that against Chris J, but Dennis already traded back one more. Low with this pickup on Flamey, and now just Edward left alive. Mouse Sports indeed close out in dominating fashion with a 12-3 scoreline in the first half. We're going to see if Navi have any hope at all of coming back in the second half right after this break, folks, so stick with us.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, Lenovo Legion, Xfinity, ESCA, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, Logitech G, and Zowie.
Well, Mouse Sports show up with the power to play here against Navi as they take the lead 12-3 coming out of their first half. Now all they have to do really is win the pistol and not mess up and get ecoed in the second round. And they pretty much have this map in the bag. Navi, unfortunately, is fighting from the very back of this battle. And if they don't win out from this point forward, well, they're not going to have very much of a chance to even come back.
Yeah, I mean, Dennis, Rops, and Oscar, I thought played really, really well. I know Oscar only had, it was 11-6 scoreline, but that 1v3 he won was so impactful. That 1v3 was worth like 3 rounds. Then he had that 3K on that other gun round. Dennis getting the 4K on the pistol, consistently taking A-holes.
Simple, unfortunately, not showing up with his usual prowess, as we were mentioning before, only with 36 ADR coming out of the first half and definitely struggling. But he's got a chance to change that now as we do get into the pistol for Navi's T side. We will see. Pretty much just moving out to take fast control of A. The thing is, though, is Mouse Sports read into this, and they should have been able to hear a pretty good amount of these players, so they're going to fast rotate over to this site. Still keeping 1 or 2 in the vicinity of B in the event it goes back the other direction, but they're pretty much set up to play against this already, and now that's something that Navi are going to have to worry about right from the get-go. Navi have a few tricks up their sleeve, though, as they've gone for the raid boss buy on Flamey. They've got extra utility sitting on C's, 2 smokes overall to play with here, but one of them is going to be used, I believe, to fake towards B. That one will kind of get wasted. In the meantime, though, C's able to get some good damage to Lola, and the nade bounces just in the right direction to be able to finish him off. A small advantage, but an advantage nonetheless that Navi can try to work with as they are now funneling in to try and take A site control. And there isn't a large presence on the site, but with what there is, they've already found impact. Dennis knocking out one. They've almost taken down a second. Flamey and Edward battle that back so quickly, bringing this down to just Ropes and Chris J, both of which stuck near the site connector. They don't have great positioning to play off of here, so that's pretty much sealed, and unless we see some miracle work being done by by Mouse Sports here. With C still sitting inside a drop room, they have to send Ropes back over the other direction. Chris J has found a kill over in the shed, actually, and Ropes kills C, so they may have a chance at this one yet. They've got a kit to play with as well, but the bomb's been on the ground for a long time, so they are running out of it as they need to get themselves back into this site with no time to spare. In they will go. Chris J flashing himself, not the best start to the play there. Guardian taking down Ropes as well, and he'll follow it through by eliminating Chris J.
Yeah, so that just quick A Halls hit. They send the B player to fight B plat. He gets that kill, and it becomes a retake setup, and from there, you know, they're able to get that bomb down. They still had a chance, though, 2v2. Chris J did have the kit as well, but now we're going to see a pretty, you know, friendly, you know, economical buy from the CTs. They just get a couple deagles. Only player with half armor is Dennis. So they're just going to try to chip away economy damage, and they could even buy next round, you know, deagles again, and just try to get like 2 kills around or something like that.
Edward, though, able to counter out Dennis's attempt at a CT aggression now as he keeps to himself. Like we saw back on the first half, he was no stranger to this type of aggression before, but this time it's not going to work out, so at least not for now on this second round. Sports are being taken care of relatively quickly, although some troubles for Seized as he tries to distract the 2 remaining players here on the B-bomb site. The only one remaining over towards A has just gone down by the hands of Flamey. So for these last 2, probably not even going to end up doing that much. They don't have armor or anything, so it's not like a huge save, but at the very least, they can carry it through to the 3rd round, save a bit of extra cash before they end up fully investing on the 4th round if they want to do that. But Lowell, not even going to get a chance at it. He's found by Simple coming in from the backside and now just on Ropes, but finds himself a nice first shot, looking for a few more, as now he's going to be cornered. So for Ropes, it's not looking too good, and yeah, he does end up getting taken down by Edward. That's not a clean house. Take a 5th round. Still a long way to go, of course, but at the very least, they found themselves the right path to start off on.
I mean, Cobble could be a very T-sided half, especially, you know, if you get the economy going your way. It's a lot of the time pretty difficult on CT side to make the T's uncomfortable. You know, we saw Liquid on Train versus Navi. Train's a pretty easy map to do that. Like, you could take inner control and box all control. You could take ladder control. You could take T mid control. You could double molly T left, you know, left side T mid on Train. On Cobble, as we're just seeing a full mid rush on the eco for Mouse Sports, just getting cleaned up right away. Last 2 players around A balls. On Cobble, it's a lot more difficult on CT side. You know, yeah, you could take B plat control. Even that can be pretty contested. You can maybe take drop room control. You could try to do some, you know, stacks like Navi did, right? But it's a lot more difficult to push, to get aggressive, to make the T's uncomfortable, to kind of dictate your own pace on CT side, to go for aggro picks all the time. It's a much different map than other maps on the CT side.
And now on this round is when the pressure is going to start to roll back in for Navi, as they claim the pistol round, but if they drop the rifle round and don't immediately trade it back, then they're still going to find themselves in a pretty poor spot, in Mouse Sports just on the cusp of a map victory. To start this one off, Mouse Sports do decide to risk it a little bit and going for the 4-man stack over towards B. Pretty safe stack, though, and one that we've come to see quite often amongst many teams. So Oscar is going to be the lone player defending over towards A-Long, but this 4-man stack may work out great since Navi are going for a pretty straightforward B execute here. Heavy on drop pressure, but nice shot for Flamey to start them off. And Edward as well, jumping onto the ledge to eliminate Dennis. All of a sudden, it's just Low on one more here to defend it. Low along with Ropes, but nicely played. Ropes bailing at his teammate for one more before he does go down, and the same thing will be said of Lowell. So he gets eliminated by Guardian. He saves the day there, and now it's just down on Oscar in another 1v3 situation. Not really set up for success either. Being mollied out of his entryway from drop, smoked out of the doorway. He may just find it better in a second to fall back and save. Just moving over to pick up that molly real quick.
Yeah, and who was that died there? I believe it was Dennis to Edward, was it? Who just flew through the window. Gets that kill, probably in the air. Just something that you can't really play against. Not much you could do about that, right? If you're Dennis there. Just kind of unlucky. But they do go down drop. I think it was 4 players, actually. And just go out drop and B. Take the site pretty early on. And this is pretty dangerous for Mouse Sports. Oscar gets a nice kill there. And when he does have an op, every round is, you know, winnable for Mouse Sports. Like, if I'm them, I might get some pistol half armor on everyone else. Maybe make Oscar, you know, go for something aggro, make it 4v5, then hold the site by himself or something like that, and that's exactly what they're going to do. So they're just going to lightly buy up just to support the op a little bit, give them a better chance of, you know, winning this round, but also still be able to buy in the upcoming round as well.
Sundo already down to just a 5-round deficit, so Navi still has a chance to play into this one. Need to win at least 1 or 2 more here to really make it contestable. And in a moment, we're going to find out who will hold the early advantage, as Edward is not wasting any time. He has support from Simple sitting behind him, too, and a few of the others are all grouped up. They are going to try to go for basically just a direct B contact play. But the thing is, all 5 from Mouse Sports are here to defend it, ready to fend this off. And they're not taking any risks early on. They're just hiding behind cover and inside of these smokes. 1-to-1 to start us back off, but things do go back into control of Navi just seconds later with Simple and Guardian picking up some additional kills. It's down on Oscar and Chris J. Chris J has some close quarters combat to work with here. He's waiting to see if anyone else moves out, and there's actually some confusion, but Chris J and Oscar both pick up their initial kills. C's thankfully still way back over here on the platform, so he's able to trade out that kill into Chris J. And it's Oscar stuck alone in a 1v2. But he should know C's is sitting over here, and Molly him out to buy him a little bit more room to play with. C's is smart though, goes for this peek, but it may be his doom. Works out in his favor though, as he's able to swing out and finish off the job, taking down Oscar and securing the 8th round now for Navi.
Yeah, close there. They do get 3 kills. They're going to be able to full buy again. Oscar again on that off. So Chris J really is the player who's adapted his game like the most, right? Not only is he in-game leading, but he's playing a lot of really tough spots. I mean, you're seeing him play drop room now, in my opinion, a very difficult spot to play. And he's really changed his game over the past like year or so.
Spread out early on, Navi are going to play into more of a default this time. They want to be a bit cautious due to the aggression being shown from Mouse Sports, but they're actually countering now quite well. Brup's down at 2 HP after being pelted with numerous nades. I think he got sprayed down a little bit as well. His teammate's still at full HP, but now Flamey pushing forward, spots the head of Chris J. And Guardian is going to be able to take down Dennis as the first kill. Catches him, I think, inside of the mid-connector over there, just as he was trying to retreat back inside the site connector itself. Plenty of time to work with, however. Navi are not going to be rushed in any sense of the word. Guardian, though, just getting a bit more aggressive to try and hunt down an additional pickup, but doesn't find anything when he goes out for the actual peak. Mouse Sports kind of scrambling around, trying to figure out how exactly they want to set up now that they have lost Dennis. And yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty in the air about where exactly Navi are going to take this bomb, even to this very moment. Navi's still kind of shifting it back and forth, now heading into the B halls. And probably going to end up going out onto this site now, as time is getting a little bit too low to switch it up for a 3rd time. They will need to commit themselves to this site, which means it's down on Rups and Lowell to try and hold it back off. Rups down at just 2 HP, so he needs to be so careful. Basically just trying to delay this with the additional smoke. It's not going to succeed, though. His time is too low for this, so he needs to get ready to play it back out. Molly's basically trying to maximize the damage he can do. He gets hit by the flash, but nobody checks him, even though he's right out in the open. Simple misses that Q. Thankfully, at low HP, is an easy trade for Edward, and Seized picks up an additional shot. The missed shot from Oscar seals his fate, as he's also taken out by Seized. And with Chris J still way back over in the B halls, we'll see what he's able to do, but in a 1v4, things are not looking bright. And more than likely, we'll be looking at a 9th round for Navi in just a moment here. But sneaks in that 1 kill. He may just find himself happy with that, though, and now decide to fall back to save.
Yeah, if Rob's had more HP there, that's probably a huge hold by him. Either stops the take completely or probably ends up getting 2 or 3 kills. But unfortunately for him, with 2 HP, just catches a, just one stray bullet through the smoke. Tried to get out of there. I mean, he's probably worried about an HE grenade or something like that coming his way. So not much for him.
And ultimately, Chris J finds himself at a very safe position way back over by A-Long, so there's a 0 chance of him getting knocked out. He will save that rifle, and it still has about 5k, so he can drop for another teammate. They're probably going to be looking at a situation where Mouse can more than likely end up buying it this next round here, but we'll see. They're taking the helm, and they put Mouse Sports into a bit of an arduous process of the buy save now. And they're just 3 rounds away from tying it, as they're going to call for their first pause in the half. Mouse Sports, this is, will call for the pause.
Yeah, they got to talk things over and figure out a way to stop this Navi T side. I mean, the round before, they do a B plat control. While they're doing it, Rops goes down to about 18 HP. Ends up with about 2 health, and then they completely give up the control. So you get nothing out of that. Dennis trying to make a little bit of a play at middle, I think, died and made it 4v5 with Rops at 2 HP. I mean, they're not really able to, get any aggression going. So what do you do? If you can't get aggressive, do you try to just overplay a site? Do you try to just play standard and hope that your hold is going to be good enough to stop Navi in any type of an execute? Where do you go from there? It's what we'll see Mouse Sports try to adapt to and see what they opt for. It's a tough call. Like, if I'm Mouse Sports here, I maybe just try to take, Oscar, let him up B, maybe try to take plat control and put 3A, but, that's a gamble, right? Are you going to win 4 rounds on the CT side gambling like that?
Flashbangs do work out originally for Navi as they are trying to push their way into this A-long quarter here. Dennis holds to the first kill. He's got to trade it with a teammate, though. He's down at 15 HP, but they catch Oscar as he tries to bail into the smoke. Now it's Chris J. It's got to be the hero here against Simple. He doesn't spot him at first, and Chris J succeeds in picking up the kill. Brings us down to a 4v3. Still lightly equipped for most of the players on Mousesports, though, and they still have 2 way over here on A-long. Is Navi, well, they see the play, so they're just going to change this up and swing themselves into B, but Rope's able to hold for his first kill against Flame. He knows there's another one pressuring him, and he's now down at 16 HP, so he's got to be very cautious. C's moving in, though, eliminates Dennis, and he knows that Chris J has to be somewhere close. Is he going to suspect him right next to the door, though? No! He doesn't check for it, so Chris J gets away with another one here against C's. It's all on Guardian, who's trying to hold in drop room, but he can't do it. Lowell takes him down, and with that, Mousesports finally are going to pick up a round. That was their first round in this half so far.
Yeah, really good recognition from Rops there. So he's playing below the steps. He's going to play around there with the ump, and as soon as the Olaf smoke comes, he moves up, watches the side of it, just looks down at the feet, puts his crosshair around there, gets that kill, and because as soon as they saw 3A, Navi just immediately went back to B, but Rops holds strong, gets that kill, and kind of stops any type of entry. Allows for the rotates to come, and the rest is pretty easy for Mouz to hold.
So, well, this puts Navi, again, into a very interesting spot, as they're still going to be lagging behind a little bit here against Mousesports, and they're still working with the advantage, of course, but if they drop too many rounds, it's still going to be Mousesports' game, and Navi will end up finding themselves broken too. They need to try and piece this together, and already Oscar finding his own impact as we get started into combat here for the 23rd round. We're up, picking up an additional kill here against Seized. Oscar ready to battle that again. I think he saw the shadow of another player moving up on the ramp itself, so he's got to be cautious about this, but peeks at just the right time to eliminate Guardian. Knows there's a second player that went in to retrieve the rifle, gives that intel over, and then goes for the final pickup against Simple. Very well played, extremely clean, not a single point of damage done to anyone on Mousesports in that round. And this will be the last full investment from Navi, as they are indeed going to force into it.
I mean, they had no chance there. Oscar's crossfiring there. They didn't even have a smoke at the doors. So any type of player in the doors, like, Oscar isn't a complete crossfire. Navi's lucky they didn't just all die in the back. I mean, there wasn't even a smoke on the doors. No rotate is being accounted for there. So they just get crushed that round.
Well, this could very well be it for Navi if they end up dropping this round, since they did cash out. And they're still only, I think, on the 2nd or 3rd losing bonus round now. Yeah, so third one, excuse me, coming out onto this round here. So still kind of stacking that one up.
I mean, they tried like a change of pace there, right? They've been playing generally pretty slow on the T side. It's been working. Try that change of pace, didn't work at all. Dennis playing aggressive here at long. Edward just sitting kind of behind the smoke.
They're really just waiting, buying themselves a little bit more time here. Sports.
This is like my favorite setup though on Cobble on CT side. You get that guy close long, Chris J with a big double kill and drop. Oscar gets the leg onto Edwards, so if he knows Edwards low right here, this should be an easy kill for him.
Oscar's trying to hunt for suicide steps too, so he gets caught up and try to check both angles at the same time, misses another op shot, and Edwards going to follow through, picking up that second kill. That has opened up a possibility for Mousesports to close out now by picking up both those defenders at A-long, but the rotates are already here. They've got 2 players in the site. One, Ropes, is going to work his way in on the flank in just a few moments here. Chris J just trying to delay it, cause his presence to be a bit of a nuisance against these guys, and Ropes arrives just in time here. Trades out the additional kill after Simple picks up 2 himself. Now Edward and Simple both incredibly low, but this is all on Ropes alone in a 1v2, and that, I didn't even know it was possible to bounce that far back, like it hit off the tree, but apparently hit the wall. So that's going to be a bit of a whiff, of course, but not completely boxing him out just yet, as he has them both extremely low. Just needed 1 bullet or 2 bullets on either one of them, and would have been able to destroy that one and pretty much seal the deal for the map, but doesn't happen. And Navi just barely keep themselves together for 1 more round, bringing it to 14-10.
Yeah, off a 3v5, and nobody gets a kill between Dennis and Oscar on that A-hold. So even though it's 3v5, they immediately give up A. That should have been a pretty easy Mousesports round, because as soon as Chris J gets those 2 kills, they should understand that there's pressure coming from A as well, and the rotate should be very, very swift on that A site. Since they are going drop to A, and there's pressure towards A, it was clearly just going to be a drop and A split. But the rotate's just kind of late. Oscar and Dennis don't get any kills between them. no call on the player that's taken. Now they just brute force out of B.
Team Flash as well seems to have affected them, as that's going to cost them Lowell now as they go down. Oscar trading out 1 kill, but Guardian hitting the second. Oscar in the open, and with Guardian finishing off ropes, and now Oscar dead. It's not really going to leave a whole lot of bargaining room for these last two, now 1 Mouse Sports players that are still in the game. Dennis, no choice. He's got to fall back and save. As Navi found their route back in as they brute force their way through B and find another round. Assuming no one dies to Dennis with 4 players alive as well, so that is going to help to structure back their economy into a better spot.
Yeah, and this will probably put Mouse Sports on a save. And Navi just, going for these immediate executes these past few rounds. They had the drops with A that they won that 3v5. This round they brute forced towards B, just all 5 players kind of jumping out and fighting.
This is going to get destroyed by Seized on the repeat there, so no one else goes down to him, and he will not be able to get that save, which means Money is going to be in a pretty poor spot here for Mouse Sports now. A few players sitting in range of a buy, but most are going to end up just with upgraded pistols and armor. They're going to go for that, actually. They're going to buy even lighter than that. Most are just going to end up with just the pistol. P250s on pretty much all of them. Lowell buys a little bit heavier into the 5.7. Ropes is going to pick up nothing at all. And they will just gamble stack over towards B with all 5 players in the site. Dennis probably going to have solo holding here towards drop, with the other 3 basically just trying to play close quarters by broken in the platform. Hopes of picking up at very least a few kills, if not just outright upsetting, since Navi have fallen into a pattern of going for a lot of B hits now. They found success in their ability to sort of brute force their way into the site, and it seems like they're going to try to attempt that again after some delay here. Their first bits of flashbangs, so probably going to see at least one guy go into drop to get the initial control and start to check outside of window and whatnot. Still obviously waiting for those 2 players in the mid-courtyard to regroup so that they can go together as the full 5-man team, but there we go. Flamey first up to bat inside the drop room itself, and now looking for more. Catches Dennis on the retreat. Overall, this is not going to be too big of a task for Navi to accomplish, as ultimately this slow style of play, just making sure they check everything in the site, leads to a very successful round, only losing simple along the way, and it's also a team ace that time from Navi.
Yeah, I like that save from Mouse Sports, though. Just take it very conservative. Make sure you get a fully bought round so you could get the tie at the very least.
And this is going to be the next big investment from Mouse Sports, so we'll see how things play out for them. So they're going back into their more default style stacking. Still going to be 4 towards B, however, just keeping Dennis as a bit of a player to lean in between both of those sites, obviously outside the window towards draw, but Navi are wasting no time. Fast smoke setup is a little bit imperfect on Sidewall, but that doesn't matter. They've already got 2 kills in their favor. Lowell's trying to battle it back. He had a great flashbang working in his favor, was not able to capitalize on it in a huge way. Still trying to play passively, still trying to hold back here, but the problem is they're losing ground far too quickly to be able to do that here now. As the flashbangs continue to roll in, Dennis is going to have to check the sidewalk in a second. He's dealing with close-up pressure, but that's kind of gone away now. They actually fell back, and these last 2 are just trying to slowly work their way in since Dennis still has the aggressive position. He's going to move in. He finds Guardian, but now he's got to check up on top of the pizza box here, and I think Oscar actually liked that player. Doesn't matter, though, as Edward trades out that kill into Dennis. Oscar with a nice tap, finishes off simple, but he still has 2 more players to go, and in a moment, he's going to be flanked out by Edward from his backside. He smokes out, buying him more room and real estate to navigate the site. But like I was saying before, Edward just completes that flank and shuts it down, putting Navi within 1 round of tying this up.
Yeah, so Mouse Sports almost on max money bonus. They got 2,900 that round. They're going to opt for another full save, I guess, maybe by a little bit of half armor. But luckily for them, like, they know how many rounds they need, so they're not pressured to just keep force buying or anything like that. I think if this is like one of those games where you really see the advantage of, getting a lot of rounds that first half, because you're not pressured to force buy like that, right? If Mouse Sports, started out this half, we might have seen them force buy a bunch of these rounds and end up, maybe losing this half like 13-2 or something like that. But instead, they're able to save and get those fully bought rounds to give them a better chance of just getting that 1 round that they need to, force overtime.
Navi here still splitting up into that default and simple first up to bat and trying to push A long. The flashbang goes in, but it hits him head on. So that's going to kill their initial plans. It's unfortunate as the flash also hit Dennis in pretty much a flawless fashion. If it didn't hit Simple, then, well, that kill would have gone the other direction. But now Dennis is able to hold with the CZ, picking up the first kill this time. Still a long way to go, though, as the rest of the team is playing with relatively minimal pistols. Chris J knows he got spot, so he tries to play out aggressively. Doesn't pan out for him, but Lowell is there to trade that out as he drops back behind the pizza box. Ropes also picks up a kill from behind the statue, too. And now leaves just 2 alive all of a sudden for Navi here. Flamey looking to battle it back, picks up his first kill. This one against Ropes. They do find Lowell with a trade against Edward, but Flamey also trades against Oscar. He's in a 1v2 at low HP 40 to try and play with. He has a smoke to try and isolate part of this site so that he can get across, but that bomb being down on the sidewalk is such a risky prospect as he doesn't know if someone's waiting, listening to see if he'll go for that. And in the meantime of him trying to check the sidewalk, he doesn't even realize that both of the remaining CTs are flanking to his left, and they'll finish him off without any problem whatsoever. That's Mouz Sports going up to map point.
Yeah, just perfect timing on that 2v1, but Robs hits a nice 1 dig there. Dennis again with his CZ. I believe that's 2 times in a row now that he's just had a CZ and just immediately destroyed the player coming towards A. So Dennis playing really well.
That's his part of the map, man.
Yeah. I mean, he had that one mess up where I don't know if Oscar legged the guy or if he dinked him, but he didn't get a kill there. But I mean, throughout this game, he has played very well.
Well, Navi once again trying to go fast out towards B here. The smoke got in the way of them picking up any of these kills close up to the broken wall, though, so both Low and Ropes are able to survive as a result of that one here now. Dennis trying to get boosted up, or at least boost his teammate up on top of the box again. They try to put someone up towards Tree. Dennis is up here now, so they have that positioning. The thing is, though, this is all a ruse, and they need to figure this out quickly. Navi are actually genius in the way that they're playing this out right now, and they pick up 2 kills to start it off as well, which is only going to sell it even more. Oscar's the one true hope now, and he misses what could have been a free kill as well, peeking out by the tree at the top of the ramp. Dennis tries to hold, but Seas just walks right into him and headshots him. Now Chris J and Oscar, the only 2 remaining here. Chris J trading out that kill, but they're just going to send the bomb in the other direction since they got free B control here, or at least full B control. As a result of Mouz Sports just falling flat, not being able to hold that at all. I don't even think there's going to be room for a retake here. Both these guys are going to have to fall back and save as they're just going to get reset in a moment.
Yeah, and it's like the start to this half, right? The first 6-7 rounds, Edward hunting. It's taken out by Chris J. So Chris is going to try to save this off, and Navi should absolutely hunt. They have enough money to buy this next round pretty good. If they can get rid of this off, it guarantees them a super poorly bought round for Mouz Sports. But as I was saying, the first like 7 rounds, it seemed for Navi, they were taking it pretty slow and methodical. But the second half of this game from Navi, it's just been like these fast, brute force type strategies. And, you know, besides the round that they got ecoed at, it's been working really well.
Chris J trying to hold. He knows they're getting closer to him. Hits that first kill, though, and that's opened up a pathway to safety. With the elimination of Seas, he is going to be able to save the op. Rebuys for Navi aren't going to be too big of an issue. They have plenty of cash, as you were mentioning previously, but now this op is in play, and the rest of the team is going to buy up behind it to the best of their own ability. One more pause will be called. I'm assuming that's coming from the Mouz Sports camp, and that is true. So they'll use one of their last pauses here to try and make sure they can try and close this out without going to another overtime in both their first matches.
Yeah, we gotta watch Oscar here, man. There's no way Oscar's not going for an aggro pick. He has the B spawn to jump B plat. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't maybe get a flashbang over from around the rock area up top, and, you know, go for a kill like that, or maybe peek middle. You know, you could just run down towards mid as well.
And we could see the ADR leaders for both teams. Simple, unfortunately, still down at the bottom, but not too far behind. Guardian at 58.2. The leader for Navi so far has been, and this entire match actually has been, Flamey, just under 100 at 98. Whereas over on the Mouz Sports side, it's Rups at 85.3 currently.
Rups is a Estonian, right?
I think so, yes.
He doesn't have blue eyes, and like 99% of Estonians have blue eyes, actually.
So, I never knew that.
Yeah, it's true.
I thought he was Finnish at first, but apparently their flags are very similar, so I got thrown off by that.
The only flag that matters is the American flag. It's the only flag I know.
Well, getting back into the swing of things here now for the 30th round. Navi once again straightforward in the way that they're playing these, but unfortunately for him, or for Edward specifically, who's leading the charge here, he's gonna have to deal with a lot more utility coming up from Mouz Sports this time, as it's actually, you know, a pretty well-bought round, all things considered. Edward is still gonna start to move back in, looking for that first pick against Oscar. Not gonna find it, as he's just holding back in a pretty typical position. Low inside of the cubby, though. He's going to be the next big player up to bat as the rest of his teammates have been smoked back off. They check for him. He's still able to go 1-for-1 in that spot. And now Oscar lurking around. He's taken out by Flamey. So that's opened up the site. Everything goes down to ropes. Chris J and Dennis to try and retake this, but they don't have a flank. Their guns aren't really that good, too. They're working with umps currently. They do have close-up positioning over here to the boost-up box, at least with Rups, but now they need to find the impact. And there's the first kill, but it's immediately traded back out. There's the second kill from Flamey, and he follows it through. Ties us up at 15-15. Mouse Sports, unfortunately, have to go into overtime again.
Yeah, I mean, that B hold by Mouse Sports, you know, they played it strange, right? So, like, right there, for instance, Rops is kind of chilling around the site area or whatever, the square. Lowell's holding at the flowers. It's not really together. You either want to fight together, or, you know, a really good way to hold that is you could throw one ways on the platform that work really well, or you could wait in their smokes kind of, and then wait until the rotate comes and then pop out of the smoke, for instance, and try to get kills that way. But once it happens where a player gets to chicken coop, I mean, the round's going to be over at that point. If that player gets to chicken coop and they get the, you know, then you try to retake in like a 4v4, you're usually not going to be successful.
So, we'll end up in overtime pretty quickly here. Same rules as before. But Mouse Sports are going to take a little bit of a risk here. If they lose this first round, this can have pretty bad economical ramifications going into the third round if they're not able to trade it back in the second. So Oscar and Chris J are both going to go for the op purchases here. Navi end up with a little bit more of a normal buy for OT. To start things off again, they just go right back into their default. Not going to be the straightforward style of play anymore, at least not for this round, but triple mollying, I think, down inside of the drop room. Try and get a little bit of control here, at the very least the double molly. We're not going to find much there in the way of Mouse Sports defense. Everyone is focusing outside of the actual room itself onto the site, or watching out for that window, and they have gone back as well on the Mouse Sports side of things, having just a double stack here. Dennis is going to be up close trying to fight for this. Chris J, though, finds the first kill, and Dennis, they haven't even spotted him yet. Edwards just gone out into the open. Chris J finding yet another impact kill here against Guardian as well, so he's doing work all solo. And unfortunately, when it's another player's time to shine, he does not fare too well. That's Rups going down at the hands of Flamey. The rest of the team trying to now funnel back in and flank into A to cut off these A long players. But with the bomb on the ground, this is going to cause a few issues. However, I think it's in a retrievable position. Yeah, it's not going to be too big of a problem. It's simple to move in and pick that back up. He almost actually eliminates Chris J, too. But can't find the mark just yet. So Chris J stays alive, as is Simple, though. More importantly, he's escaped with the bomb. But more trades going back on, and Chris J caught off guard by the peek from Flamey coming out the alleyway. All of a sudden, this is even back up into a 2v2 with Navi finally getting that full control over towards this A site. They'll have full reign to be able to go for this plant, and it's going to come down to Oscar and Lowell on the flank to try and retake this site. And Lowell's taking his time as well, still way over towards the suicide steps. The good news is that both these Navi players are stacked together, so Oscar just goes for this dirty peek, shuts down Flamey with it, and now only Seas is left alive. He's way out in the open, but still able to take the successful duel versus Lowell. So now, only Oscar to eliminate, and Oscar moving back up. Is he going to be able to appropriately find Seas as he just lurks back around, giving Oscar the minimal hitbox to try and fire at. But Oscar's just going to go for this defuse inside of the smoke. It's a full 10-second defuse. We will see if he can get it. Down to 3 seconds, though. There's no way he's going to be able to get this. He completely ninjas it inside of the smoke, and then he rolls out to shut down Seized as well. Revenge from the end of the last map, as Oscar comes in with a clutch once again.
What a madman. He doesn't even have a kit and just 10-second diffuses it. That is crazy, man.
The last player from Navi, I think, just assumes he's not even diffusing at that point. Like, he went up and went back behind Broken Wall.
Yeah, why would you? It's overtime. You assume after like a few seconds that if he would have a kit and the bomb would just be diffused, for sure.
Oh, that's
crazy
amazing.
stuff. But that round was that round was odd, man. There was like 5 flanks that round.
Yeah.
Like there's like Chris J made it 3v5, and then just everybody just kept getting flanked.
Yep. It's turned into chaos towards the end of it, but Oscar makes it happen. And so now Mouse Sports will take the lead to start things off, and they'll also get the advantage going into the second round as they catch Seized going past the box there, trying to get aggressive early on in the round to deploy a little bit of his own utility. That does not pay off. Look at this crossfire set up outside, right at the entrance to the ramp leading up to the A site as well. The only problem here is that they don't have any presence on the site, so the guys coming out A long have free reign, and the only player they're really going to stop here is Flamey coming out through mid. Molly doesn't miss. They just smoke it back out, though, and now they'll peek into it, but even that attempt fails. Rups is having a much better time to hold things off from within inside of the site, though. He's already picked up 2 kills, but Flamey, with a quick shot against Rups' head, is going to be able to trade that back out. Here comes Chris J, though. He's the surprise edition. Was hiding in that smoke after getting mollied back out, and then Oscar shuts it down with a final op kill. It's going to put Mouse Sports up 2-0 here in OT.
That was a sick shot by Flamey, but Rops comes on the rotate, gets that kill, pushes through the smoke, gets another, and Oscar shoots through the wall. They know that player's there, so nobody's going to expect Chris J in that smoke. He gets a nice little flank kill. And again, though, we see the ops early on, you know, coming alive for Mouse Sports. Oscar gets the early entry there, gets another kill later in the round before, to even put Oscar in a situation where he could 1v1 that round was, you know, Chris J making it 3v5. So the double op OT setup by Mouse Sports is just doing work right now.
Yeah, Navi are going to be on a bit of a hindered by as they've gone 0-2 here to start things off. You can see the Galil, the Tech 9, obviously not as much utility, but they're back to the fast-paced style here, low with a good setup, but is only able to get one kill. Chris J moving back in with the second pickup. He's going to go for more as he finds himself a second individual kill before going down to Seized. It's still an advantage for Mouse Sports as they've got a player sitting back over there inside of Chicken Coop, and Ropes and Dennis able to peek back out, finishing off that round with a 3-0 streak. So only one is needed to take control of this map back on their T side as soon as they switch in a few seconds here.
Yeah, Mouse Sports, I mean, that's a really tough thing to play against, is when you get into overtime and you play against a team that has two oppers that are able to get really aggressive and kind of just take matters into their own hands, right? And it can really simplify overtime a lot for a team, especially on that CT side. Where you're just like, hey, let's just double op, let's play aggro. If we get the picks, we're gonna win the round. If not, yeah, we're probably gonna, you know, we're gonna lose the round most likely. But it just simplifies it, and it's really hard to play against because, you know, if you're Navi, they kind of went away from what was working right later on that half with which was those brute force type strategies. And now it looks like Mouse Sports can take a page out of Navi's book and kind of do the same. Just go out, be here early with Rops, going out on the plat, and now they're going to set up their exec.
The big stack from Navi, and they have an auto sniper sitting on Flamey too, so you're going to want to pay attention to that as they move in. Nice shot from Rops, though, just deletes Guardian as he tries to hide back behind the statue. So many smokes set from both sides actually is causing some issues at the moment. As Seized, Ropes and Dennis trading out kills again. It's down to just 2 from Navi at this point. One's right next to Dennis, and he doesn't even realize it just yet, but he's definitely going to be able to spot the kill and get it for free. Down to Flamey with the auto, but he's already picked up one. Unfortunately, low from the backside, he's going to close out. And with a 4-0 run in overtime, it's going to be Mouse Sports that take control.